The Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, Lord.
Now before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and to go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The devil had already put it into the heart of Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray him. And during supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him,
"Lord, are you going to wash my feet?"
Jesus answered,
"You do not know now what I am doing, but later you will understand."
"You will never wash my feet."
"Unless I wash you, you have no share with me."
"Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head."
"One who hath bathed does not need to wash except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you."
For Jesus knew who was to betray him. For this reason, he said, "Not all of you are clean." After he had washed their feet, had put on his robe, and had returned to the table, Jesus said to them,
"Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example that you also should do as I have done to you. Very truly I tell you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them. Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and as I said to the Judeans, so now I say to you, where I am, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another."
The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Please be seated. Tonight's gospel always takes me back to my very first foot washing service in seminary. I was the designated foot washer, and I remember feeling deeply moved by the experience until one of my classmates came forward at the end and said, "Okay, Sarah, it's your turn. Let me wash your feet." And you would think I would have seen this coming, obviously, but instead I was really stressed out. First, I was worried that my feet were going to smell, and then I realized with horror that I hadn't painted my toenails in months, and my nail polish was very chipped. But underneath all of that was this deeper discomfort with receiving care. In that moment, I definitely understood what Peter felt like when he said to Jesus, "You will never wash my feet." You see, the Maundy of Maundy Thursday comes to us from the Latin word mandatum, meaning commandment. And often when we read this story, we think the commandment is simple. Wash one another's feet. Love one another. And to be clear, this type of radical, subversive love that Jesus models in this gospel is absolutely part of what Jesus is commanding us to do. But the commandment actually has two parts. Jesus doesn't just say, wash one another's feet. He says, so if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, then you also ought to wash one another's. He doesn't just say, love one another. He says, just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. You see, the commandment that Jesus gives here doesn't start with loving. It starts with receiving love. And I don't think the reason we struggle to receive love is only about embarrassment. I think it also has something to do with power and privilege. One of my favorite theologians, John Swinton, talks about how Jesus was both a host and a guest throughout his ministry. How he didn't just serve others, he also allowed himself to be served. Although Jesus is the host in our gospel today, as he washes his disciples' feet, we see him as a guest in the chapter right before tonight's gospel reading, when Mary anoints Jesus' feet with expensive perfume and wipes his feet with her hair. When others criticize Mary, he tells them to leave her alone. Jesus receives her love as if it truly matters to him, as if her care could actually strengthen him for what lies ahead. And by moving back and forth between giving and receiving, Jesus actively breaks down the boundaries between those whose society deems host and guest, between those in power and those on the margins, between those who seem to need nothing and those who seem to have nothing. Jesus demonstrates that we are not only called to serve and to love, but to be served and to be loved, to lay down our power and privilege and recognize how deeply each and every one of us needs God and needs one another. And the truth is, of course, it's not just hard to receive love because of our broken systems. It's also hard because of what we believe about ourselves. It's easy to think of the parts of ourselves that embarrass us. Yes, the smelly feet and the chipped nail polish, but also the deeper parts of ourselves that we are ashamed of. We live in a world that tells us we need to earn everything. So why wouldn't love be anything different? But in our gospel today, though Jesus knows that Peter will deny him and Judas will betray him, Jesus kneels down and washes the disciples' feet anyway. Jesus shows that there is no part of the disciples and no part of us that Christ does not love. Our gospel reminds us that we are loved unconditionally by God. And it is only through receiving this love that we are freed to love one another. And so, we've modeled our foot washing today off of this gospel call. Each of us will have the opportunity to wash and to be washed, to be the host and to be the guest, to love and to be loved. And though it will feel uncomfortable, I invite you to lean in and remember that everything begins not with what we do, but with what we receive. We will receive water. Later, we will receive bread and wine. And every single day, we receive a love that is unconditional, a love that we did not earn and cannot repay. May we respond like Peter, who declares, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." And then from this incredible love we receive, may we go out and love one another, smelly feet and all. Amen.